I hate drum brakes. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited because I've been waiting for weeks for the weather to be good, and I'm finally going to be able to do this rear disc brake conversion on the Jetta because I hate drum brakes. Most people do, and let me show you what I have. All right, so just so you guys know, I got most of this from FCP EURO except the calipers. The calipers I did get from eBay. So let's start from this side. Calipers are from eBay, like I said. They are Detroit diesel. These are brand new, they're zinc coated, and they have a 10-year warranty on them. So that combined with good reviews, I said, all right, I'm gonna give them a shot. And they come with the mounting brackets, which is very difficult to find at times. So I'm glad that it came all together, and this was very cheap, guys. All right, so I'm gonna get back to this in a second. Obviously you have your dust shields, rotors, the hardware, you have new lines, brake pads and hardware, and then hardware and new cables for the parking brake handle. Now, coming back to this here, this is not required. These are the wheel bearings / hubs, and they're not required to be replaced to do this conversion. However, you do have to pull them off anyway to do this. The car is already 14 years old. It has 91,000 miles on it. It just makes sense that while you have it out, just replace them. And of course, all the hardware that goes with that. And this video is not sponsored. I did buy everything here. I'm gonna have the links down in the description for you guys to help out for your project. All right, so we got the car up in the air safely. Make sure you do that. Take off the wheel, and then you have access to these ugly things here, the drums. Oh, I'm so happy you're gonna get rid of this. Make sure also you chuck the front tire so that way this thing doesn't roll forward by accident. You definitely want to be safe with this. And also, remember to take off the engine cover because we are going to need access to the brake reservoir when we're done with all this so we can do the power bleed. All right, so because this is the first time that I'm doing this, I'm going to do it all myself here on this side, and also because the lighting on this side of the car is not all that good. So let me figure out all the learning process on this, and then I'll go ahead and film for you guys the other side. All right, guys, take a look at this. This is looking so good right now. And we have our brake caliper in place. Everything is solid. The only thing I have not done yet is I have not bled because I still have to do the other side. And well, the parking brake cable, which is definitely not getting done today. It's already pretty late, so. But yeah, pads are in place. Everything is good. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys how to do it on the other side. All right, here we go. The first thing we're gonna do is remove the drum. Next thing is we're going to take off this dust cap. Okay, so now is the fun part. That is an M18 triple square bolt. We got to get that bad boy off, and it is not easy. I tried using my impact, and it would not do it. I ended up having to do it by hand, so don't be surprised if you end up having to do the same thing. WD-40 is a great idea right now. I'm actually going to spray WD-40 in the back of this bolt, and also these 4 hex bolts back here. They're kind of hard to tell right now, but there are 4 bolts down here that you need to take out afterwards. So you might as well start soaking them in WD-40 now. Just in case you guys thought I was playing about that, I'm gonna use my Ooga Dooga and I'm gonna put it at full crank here, okay? Now we go by hand, and hopefully it'll come out as smooth as the other one. All right, getting there. There we go. Bam. There you go. Yeah, this doesn't sound all too good either. So I'm glad that I got new ones to replace it. All right, so now that we have the bearing out, look at all the space we have here. The idea here is not to mess around with any of this drum stuff. I struggled trying to take out the springs and then having to take this out, and it was a nightmare. I hate drum brakes. I hate drum brakes. I hate drum brakes. Really, the only things that need to come out in order for this whole assembly to come out is the parking brake cable, which is this bad boy right here. It goes over here. And the brake hose that goes back here, which that can just come out with an 11mm nut right here. Kind of hard to tell, but there you go. You see my finger? That's an 11mm nut. Just loosen that and the hose will come off. Once the line is out and the parking brake cable is out, the only thing that's holding this entire assembly is these 4 hex bolts. They're 19mm, I believe. I'm sorry, 16mm. And once you take that out, this whole thing will come out as one piece. So that's the idea here. So let's hope that this thing doesn't struggle too much. There we go. I almost forgot. To give you some more flexibility once you disconnect that line, there is a clip right down here that you can take out, and then that's going to move this entire hose out of the way. So get that clip out, then go ahead and disconnect this. Here, so you see what I'm doing there. There you go. Okay, so now that that's out, we can go ahead and take out these 4 16mm bolts, and this whole thing should come out in one piece. For now, we're just gonna get this parking brake cable out of the way because I'm not doing this today. All right, so this is the stub axle. Be very careful when you're dealing with this because that's your wheel speed sensor, which is used for ABS, etc., all kinds of stuff. So make sure you don't damage this. And we are gonna clean this whole mating area as well as this here because we are going to reuse this. This is the stub axle. It's basically, it pretends to be an axle when obviously there's no axle here, but this is what everything else ties into. So you are going to reuse this. All right, guys, this is the fun part because this is when we get to put everything back together. So the first thing is we're going to put this stub axle back in place, if I can find it. Oh, there you go. Next is the shield. Then we got to put 4 new hex bolts in here, but make sure you put Loctite on them because they do not come with Loctite on them for some reason. All right, I'm just gonna get all 4 bolts started. We're making sure that all 4 of them are lined up before we run them down. Now these are supposed to be at 52 foot-pounds plus 90 degrees. And then the thing that I do for angle, I just go ahead and mark them. So I'm basically gonna do 4 vertical lines And when I'm done with them, they should all be horizontal. There you go. Okay, so now we're ready for the wheel bearing, and this is the fun one because this is where you get to use your muscles big time. Because the torque spec on this one is, it's 133 pounds of torque, which by itself is pretty tight, but then you have to give it 180 degrees of stretch. So yeah, I tried doing that with the Ooga Dooga. No way, you gotta do it by hand. So you're gonna see me struggle. You are allowed to make fun of me because I would make fun of me too. Right now we just have to run it down. Put this at the low power. All right, so we hit bottom now, so we can go ahead and torque spec it. All right, here we go. So again, because we are stretching this bolt, I'm going to make my marking. I don't know if you can see it there, but I made a vertical white dash there. I need that white dash at the top now. That's when we have fun. All right, guys, the hard stuff is all done. You can relax and breathe now. Now, next up, we're going to put the rotor on. Let's make sure you clean it before you put it on. Make sure it lines up with the locator bolt. I always try to put it at the top so it makes my life easier. And of course, this is new hardware. Ooh, almost forgot the dust cap for here. Where is it? There you go. So this one can be fun to hammer in. It is sometimes easier to use a block of wood or something flat that you can kind of spread the load around. Okay, the next step is the caliper mounting bracket. Take a look at how we're looking so far. Everything is good. All right, next thing I'm doing is replacing that hose with this new one. This is not only because it's a new one, but also because it is a different length than the one for the drum. So I want to make sure we get all the correct stuff. Make sure you have a washer on either side of the block on this banjo bolt, okay? Otherwise you will leak brake fluid. You don't want that. All right, so to get the line out, we do have a clip right there. Let's go ahead and get this sensor wire out of the way. There we go. See if we can stick this thing back there. So there's a clip right back here that we're going to go ahead and take out, and then we can go ahead and unscrew this 11 millimeter. Actually, let's unscrew the 11 millimeter first, and then we can take off that clip. That way we have something rigid to fight against. Okay, so we're finally replacing this line. Here we go. There, this whole thing can be gone. So the idea is going to be for it to be able to swing around like this. So that's going to, I'm going to line it up here. Oh, there you go. Let me go ahead and just take this pipe back in place. We're just going to get it started in there, that's all. I'll put the clip back on. Make sure it's secured. Okay. Mother effer. There we go. By the way, this hardware came with the pads. Make sure that if you don't have hardware, you get that hardware from either the dealer or whatever, but you do need that. Otherwise, you are gonna make a lot of noise. Now the caliper can go on. Here's a hint: if you're ever installing calipers and you don't know which one goes on the left, which one goes on the right, at the end of it all, the caliper will always have the bleeder screw at the top. So that's, see the little rubber nipple here? That's the bleeder valve. That always has to be at the top of the caliper because that's where the bubbles are going to gather when you go bleed it, okay? So if you're ever installing calipers and you notice that your bleeder screw is pointing down, you have it upside down. You need to switch it with the other side. All right, now we can go ahead and hook up the line. Remember, you got bolt, gasket, goes in, gasket again, and goes in. Now this is a brand new hole, so it is going to fight you a little bit. There we go. Nice and tight, there you go. All right, so take a peek at that. That is almost done. So at this point, all I have to do is bleed the brakes and install the new parking brake cables. Parking brake cables are not my priority right now. I'll probably do that on another weekend. All right, so this is the reason why I wanted to take out the engine cover, so that way you have clear, unobstructed access to the brake fluid reservoir. The fluid is a little bit on the dark side. You see it down here, if you can tell there. I'll try to zoom it in. But honestly, it's not that bad. We are going to put fresh fluid in there, though, in the process of getting the air out of the system. So because of the way that this works, you definitely don't want to run out of fluid. This is a situation that you definitely want to have more fluid than what you actually are going to use. Typically, for a brake flush, you don't use more than like half a liter or so. But because you're going to be pumping whatever's in here, you don't want to be in the corner running out of fluid here, because then it's going to pump air into the system. Then you're in for a headache. So always make sure you have more fluid than what you actually need in here. Now this is a bunch of leftover brake fluid that I had from the BMW. Might as well use it and make some space on my shelves. All right, so you see I have a gauge there. The goal is to pump this up to 15 PSI. And if we don't have any leaks, it should hold the 15 PSI. PSI. The pressure is dropping a little bit, probably because there's air that I just pumped in there. That's okay. So if you guys don't know how to do a brake flush, you always start with the furthest out corner of the system, which in this case is the right rear. Then we're going to go to the left rear, and we go to the front right, and then the left front. This is the one where we're going to spend the most time, because remember, as we first started pumping up, there was air in the system making its way into it. So not only do we have to get the air out that was here, we got to get the old fluid out, and then the air bubbles that we introduced. And once we start seeing clean fluid, that's when we stop this one, and then the rest are going to go by fast. So right here is the bleeder screw. And you take out the protective cap, and we're going to put the 11 mil on it right there. There we go, perfect. So hook up your line. This bottle is empty and you have a vent cap right here. Okay, I cracked it open. Let's just watch the line now. There it goes, you see? Gotta get all that air out of here. Okay, but basically we're gonna do this for every corner, and every time we finish one corner, we're gonna go back up to the front and make sure that the pressure stays up to 15 PSI on that tank, okay? So the next time I see you guys, this will be done. Bleeding is done, and the pedal is biting at the very top. It feels awesome. Yeah, so we're good to go now. I am putting all the wheels back on. I wanted to show you guys this real quick. This is the only thing that I did not do today, which is the parking brake cables. If you guys want me to film a video on it for you guys, let me know in the comments and I'll go ahead and get that filmed for you, because I don't plan to do this for another weekend or two at the very least. I don't live somewhere where I actually need to use this, so like this is not something that I have to do today, but just so you guys see what it looks like. This is obviously the cables that are meant for the drum brakes, and look at how much extra play there is at the spot where it would go for the caliper. But like, look at that. So there's all that play. So what I did it for now, just to keep it from making a bunch of noise, I just zip tied it in place here and here, and I did the same thing on the other side. But again, yeah, if you guys want me to show you how to do this replacement of these cables when you do this conversion, let me know in the comments and I'll get it filmed for you guys. Almost forgot before I went on the test drive that I still have this hooked up, so gotta take this out and then we can go. I always like to put a few towels around the cap, because when you take it out, there might still be some residual there. And also, don't be surprised if the level is at the very top. And if that's the case, go ahead and just use that like a syringe or something to remove some of the fluid, okay? When you go to relieve the pressure on these, you always do it from the bottle itself, not your reservoir. If you do it from there, it's gonna go all over the place. Whereas if you do it here, you're just gonna have the air venting. Notice the gauge right now, it's about 14 PSI. Wow, it made zero mess, perfect. The level is above the high, so I'm gonna go ahead and just take out a little bit and we're good to go. Okay, I'm going out of the garage right now and just testing real quick. Okay, okay. Okay. Oh, nice. All right, let's see. Coming to a break right now. Ooh, yeah, we got to break in those rotors. Oh, this is good. All right, so I've been driving it around for about 15 minutes and already feels so much better. If you guys ever did any sort of road racing, or if you just do spirited driving, you kind of tell when you have better brakes in the back than you do the front type of thing, because it throws off the balance of the vehicle when you're braking, especially around turns. This definitely feels a whole lot more balanced now, because before you could tell that all the braking on this car was happening at the front. And now it's like, oh wait, there's actually something happening in the back when you hit the brake now. Okay, I'm about to try to do an emergency braking. There you go, so you can see. All right, let's see. Nothing crazy, I just want to get it up to speed. Good 45 miles an hour. Nobody behind me. Here we go. Okay. Not bad, gotta get some heat in them. Okay, I went pretty easy on them. Let's try to, now that they're hot, let's try it again. All right. 50 and break. Oh yeah. Oh heck yeah. The rear brakes are definitely doing a lot. Yeah, before with the drums, that would not have locked up like it did before. I kicked on ABS, which on this car, I've always been able to kick on ABS in the front when doing this kind of testing. But the rears, never. I just locked up the rear brakes. So yes, that's a win. All right, well, I hope it helps you out in case you guys are doing this same conversion that I did. It was definitely worth it. Like, this is significantly better braking than drum brakes. And it looks a lot better. So I'll try to put a list of everything that I put down in the description and links, so that way you guys can put together your own kits. And again, this isn't sponsored. I did this all on my own. I will also put a link to my Amazon affiliates. That stuff, I do make commission on it, but it does not cost you anything extra for it. So if you see any of the tools that I use, like the power bleeder, for example, the torque wrench, it's gonna be there. Well, thank you guys, and remember, if you want me to do a video on the cables, let me know in the comments. And I'll see you all next time.